Boys and girls, you'll remember that when Joseph was at his house, his father loved him and gave him that beautiful coat. His brothers hated him, and he had two dreams that God gave him, that his brothers would bow down to him. But now he's in Egypt, and he's at Potiphar's house, and at first it looks like everything's going so well. He becomes the master of everything. He's ruling things. Everything he does, God blesses it. But remember yesterday, Potiphar's wife, the way that she tried to make Joseph sin, and he said, no, I can't do this wickedness and sin against God. And then she lied about him, and now he's in prison. It doesn't look like those dreams are going to come true. But there's lots of dreams in the Joseph story, because now he's in prison. But the prison guard, the prisoner, the person who's in charge, he sees that Joseph is just a really good prisoner, and he starts to give him more work to do. And then Joseph gets to do this work, and he gets to take care of the other prisoners, and that's what he's sort of in charge in a sense, because now even the prisoner, the person who's the warden, he doesn't really care because Joseph is taking such good care. Well, one day, two more prisoners come to the prison. They are actually Pharaoh's servants. One of them is the cupbearer. He's the person who gives the Pharaoh his drink. And when he does, he quite often has to take a sip first to make sure that no one has poisoned it. He's a very special, he stands by the Pharaoh and he gives the Pharaoh his drink. He's the cupbearer. The other one is the baker of the Pharaoh. He bakes all kinds of bread and things like that for the Pharaoh. One day, Pharaoh is angry at both of them. We do not know what they did, but the Pharaoh says, you're going to jail. And there they go. The cupbearer and the baker, they're in prison. And Joseph gets to know them because Joseph is taking care of the prisoners, and he sees them in the daytime and he chats with them and he gets to know them. Well, one day he goes into their place where they are, and he thinks, oh, they look so sad. Why are you looking so sad today? Asked Joseph. Oh, they said, we both had a dream. Both had a very vivid dream last night, and we don't know what it means. Oh, said Joseph, doesn't the interpretation, doesn't knowing what a dream means, doesn't that belong to God? Tell me your dreams. Well, the cupbearer went first. He said, in my dream, there was this big vine it was a grapevine, and there were 3 branches. And out of those branches were buds and then big clusters of grapes. And I had Pharaoh's cup in my hand. And I went to those clusters of grapes and I squeezed them right into Pharaoh's cup. And then I woke up. Oh, said Joseph, God knows what those dreams mean. Those 3 branches are 3 days. In 3 days, Pharaoh is going to lift you up out of this prison, and you're going to go back to the palace, and you're going to be the cupbearer, just like you were before, and you are going to give the cup again to the Pharaoh. But when you do, when you get there, please tell Pharaoh about me. Try to get me out of here, because I was stolen from the land of the Hebrews, and I've done nothing wrong to put me into a jail. Please tell Pharaoh about me and get me out. Well, when the baker heard how good the dream of the cupbearer was, the baker said, in my dream, I had 3 baskets on top of my head. And in the very top basket, I had all kinds of yummy things, bread and cakes and things like that. And then some birds came and they started eating the things that were on the top. Oh, said Joseph, those 3 baskets, they also mean 3 days. But in 3 days, Pharaoh is going to lift your head off. You're going to be hung on a tree, and the birds are going to eat your dead body. And it happened just the way that Joseph said. 3 days later, it was Pharaoh's birthday. They had a great big birthday party, and Pharaoh took the butler and the cupbearer and the baker out of the prison. The cupbearer, he said, you may go back to the palace and have your job back. And that's what happened. But the baker got hung on a tree and his body died. And then the birds came and they ate his body up. But when he was in the palace, the cupbearer did not remember Joseph. And so Joseph stayed in that prison. It doesn't look like his dreams are going to come true. And that is the end of that story.